His Excellency Mr. Christopher Cooter, High Commissioner of Canada, to kindly say a few words.
Thank you very much. Namaskar, everyone. I'll give you a moment to exit. For those who are exiting. Let me just say I'm honored to be here, and congratulations to all the award winners. You might actually ask why Canada is speaking at an event like this. And I'm actually excited to be here because the relationship between Canada and India in agriculture is one that dates back decades, but can go very much farther in the future. I think if there's one thing, and we heard it from Honourable Minister just now, is that it's going to take a combined effort of entrepreneurs, of those who are innovators, as well as the farmers, the private sector, if we're going to move forward and accomplish what we want to accomplish in agriculture and agri-tech. Everywhere in the world, countries are looking at how they can attain not only food security, but nutritional security. And the war in the Gulf has only made it worse. People are more concerned than ever about having reliable partners, partners that provide options, and Canada is one of the best options for India as you go forward. It happens that Canada and India have a new relationship. It's a relationship that's been forged over the last few months by our two prime ministers who have met no less than 4 times. And it's driven by a shared ambition by the two prime ministers that a partnership in agriculture is a key priority and one that they've identified as one they're going to follow through on. And there's a few good reasons for that. First, as you just heard, India has undertaken a remarkable transformation in agriculture over the last few years. It's actually inspiring to everyone, including in Canada. You're now the leading producer in the world of milk, of pulses, spices, among the leading producers of fruits and vegetables, rice and wheat. You're not only feeding your own people, but you're starting to feed the world. You've got an industry that's worth $600 billion right now, going to $1 trillion by the mid-2030s, and that trajectory, plus a growing middle class that's looking for more varied and higher quality food products, presents an extraordinary opportunity for collaboration with Canada. However, at the same time, India faces a number of challenges to get there. Reliable availability of fertilizer, soil fertility, which we heard the Honourable Minister speak about, problems with food storage, with the cold chain, with water, and the availability of new technology and finance are all issues that the agricultural sector faces. They're all obstacles to increasing farm incomes, which is important, of course, to farmers, but to the whole country. If you look at the Canadian agricultural story, it's also one of accelerating success. It can, if we do this right, perfectly complement India's story, India's path, including by helping assure that farm incomes can rise. With a few numbers behind that, let me explain. Our agricultural sector in Canada has become a massive economic engine. Our exports exceed $100 billion annually. That's up 63% in just a few years. And that reflects the application of cutting-edge technology, but also cutting-edge technique. Training farmers in doing things in better ways and new ways, as well as the strength of our transportation sector, our cold chain, and our storage networks, our processing capacity, and our export infrastructure. It contributes $150 billion to the Canadian economy. It provides over 2 million jobs in Canada, and it's actually been one of the fastest growing sectors, including farm incomes, which are the fastest growing in Canada. Today, we're the largest producer of pulses of all kinds in the world, supplying 35% of all pulses to 150 countries. In 2025, Saskatchewan, one province of Canada, was itself the leading producer and exporter of dry peas and lentils, durum wheat, canary seed, mustard seed, and oats. Canola tells a similar story. We produce a quarter of the world's canola. That accounts for 60% of the world trade. Because it's seen increasingly around the world as a nutritious and versatile oil, it's become our single largest agricultural export, contributing $11 billion to our economy. Our agri-food exports to India total about $1.5 billion. We'd like to do more. We've had some issues with tariffs, but we hope that will be resolved in the ongoing free trade negotiations, which we expect to be concluded this year. But the underlying relationship remains very strong. And what I want to say today in particular is what we're trying to do is entirely different. We still want to be a reliable supplier to you of pulses and other products, but what we want to do is have a holistic approach to how we come into this relationship. We want to go from the seeds to the planting, the harvest, the processing, the science. We would like to take a completely new approach, which is far bigger and far more valuable to the farming community and to the agricultural community as a whole. We think we can make a much greater contribution to the relationship with you. And I'll take examples of why we think that. Canadian strength is not only in what we grow, but it's in how we grow it. That's what we want to share with you. We've spent decades ourselves investing in sustainable productivity. Our farmers have pioneered no-till and conservation agriculture, which protects the soil moisture, it reduces erosion, it lowers fuel use, and it builds long-term resilience. We're advancing the 4R nutrient stewardship, using the right source of fertilizer at the right rate, at the right time, and in the right place to improve efficiency while reducing the environmental impact. So now Canada is known as for some of the least carbon-intensive canola, wheat, peas, and lentils in the world. A liter of Canadian milk, for example, has a carbon footprint less than half of the global average. And importantly, our experience demonstrates that productivity and sustainability don't compete with each other. In fact, they reinforce each other, as increasing yields and incomes per acre have shown in Canada. And so we're starting to apply what we've learned to our relationship with India, going beyond the exchange of commodities towards joint innovation, investment, and value creation. With a few examples, a significant step came in March when our Prime Minister visited and held talks with your Prime Minister, and they agreed to establish a Canada-India Pulse Protein Centre of Excellence to develop next-generation food solutions to benefit both countries. Whether it's in precision agriculture or greenhouse production, plant proteins, sustainable inputs, food processing, or supply chain technology, we would also welcome collaboration with Indian companies looking not only to work with us bilaterally, but to scale up globally. And we've got some good examples of that already. If you look at big Canadian processing firms like McCain and like AGT, they're already here. They're investing not only in India, but in exporting from India. And that's going extremely well, and they'll be investing more. Our leading agricultural universities, such as the University of Saskatchewan and Guelph, already collaborate with Indian counterparts, and they intend to do much more. No doubt, as one of the top 3 countries in AI research, Canada can bring AI here to farming as well. Canadian companies are bringing innovation to make Indian farming more productive, for example, in seeding, and are looking at areas such as turning agricultural waste into energy, which farmers can then use to reduce their costs. We're also the world's largest producer and exporter of potash. And as demand for this key fertilizer grows, we are ramping up production. A new mine alone in Saskatchewan will be $18 billion. We have 10 mines now operating there, 40% of the world's reserve. Today, we actually supply a fairly modest amount of that to India, despite the fact that potash can sustainably improve soil fertility, unlike urea, which tends to deteriorate soil fertility over time. We want to work together with you on a plan to ensure farmers can readily access this key ingredient for soil health. As Canada and India aim towards an early conclusion of our comprehensive trade agreement, the outcome should strengthen regulatory cooperation, for example, in the health area. It should facilitate investment flows and enable deeper integration between our agricultural value chains. It should provide an institutional foundation to support the kind of innovation-led partnerships that you've been discussing here today. I'll conclude by saying that, as you know, the world's facing a profound challenge. To feed a growing population with its rising expectations for safe, more varied, and higher quality food, while protecting at the same time the natural environment on which future generations depend. No single country has all the answers, but together, India and Canada have the natural and the human resources to succeed. In different ways, each country has world-class agricultural assets and abilities that can be brought together for bilateral and even global impact. The next chapter of our agricultural relationship will not be written only in tons traded or dollars invested, but in joint research, in climate-smart farming, in food innovation, and construction of resilient supply chains. And as your conclave comes to a close, I want to emphasize that while Canada will be a reliable supplier for you, as it has been in the past. It is equally committed to becoming a trusted partner of India in a new chapter of cooperation across the spectrum of agriculture challenges and opportunities. Thank you very much.